Alrighty, welcome back to the Red Corner. Slim, I don't even know where to begin after that one. I mean, I guess where I'm going to start is Happy Father's Day, right? What a Father's Day weekend the Phils just put on for us there. Castellanos grand slam, second of the year. Bohm hit what I think might have been his furthest home run as a Philly. Wheeler doing Wheeler stuff. Otto Kemp 4-hit day. I mean, Phillies sweep the Blue Jays. It's just there's so much going on right now. How are you doing?
I'll tell you what, my nerves, I was clinching for a second, and you know why. When that big, powerful man came up the first time and he had that grand slam, I
Yeah.
knew the first one was coming. All right, I knew the first grand slam was coming. He got ahead the count. The bases were loaded. Actually, I think he
Yep.
was down in the count. It might have been 0-2. I
I think
can't.
that's right.
But I saw that one coming a mile away. But man, that second time when he came up again with the bases loaded, I don't think I've ever cheered harder for there not to be a Phillies grand slam. I'm being serious. I don't think I'm sitting there and
Hater.
a little bit there. But no, baseball is crazy, right?
Crazy.
About this time last week, I'm thinking that the home field advantage the Phillies has is over with. It's not a real thing.
Right.
We couldn't score at all versus the Pirates. And then bing, bada bing, bada boom. We sweep another AL East team.
Yeah.
We're dominating. We're the daddies of the AL East.
That's right.
We beat the Cubs again. We take the season series versus the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
The Cubs, we see they have issues, especially the game 3 of that where we really just laid a smackdown on them. So no, I and a part of it again, it seems like that timely hitting aspect.
Oh yeah.
Turner's red hot. Kepler's coming around. Marsh is getting hits. So yeah, when you're hitting, a lot of things, a lot of blunders, defensive stuff can get excused. Where are you at with it, Devo?
I mean, no, I think you summarized that wonderfully, and we're going to jump right into that. But what I did want to say is, as you guys have noticed, Bones is not here today, just Slim and I. So happy Father's Day to Bones. We're covering for him, letting him enjoy the time as a family with his family. And we have this coming on right here, folks.
Ooh.
So just like we did last time, jump on in the chat. The best comment or question today, and this is yours. Slim will be the judge of the comment or question. So
Okay.
jump in that live chat today. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet already. And Slim, to answer your question, I'm in a great place right now. Like our thumbnail says, we got our swagger back. And I want to remind all of our Phillies fans that might have had a little bit of memory loss here. So this is just where we were not that long ago, folks. We were just swept by the Brewers at home. Then we lost 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays. We got revenge today. Then we were swept by the Pirates in Pittsburgh. First time they did that in a very long time. And now, fast forward to the last couple series, like Slim just said, beat the Cubs. And now we just swept the Blue Jays to get revenge. So the vibes are back. And Slim, overall, I'm just really grateful for our starting pitching. I'm really grateful that our bats are alive now. I mean, the 5 through 9 guys are hitting the ball again. And that has been the problem all year long. We haven't been able to do that. So when that happens, you can have guys like a Schwarber, like a Castellanos, because before today he was hitting a little bit of a, I don't want to say slump because that would be a misrepresentation, but he wasn't as hot. But Slim, again, go.
Yeah, so baseball, I like the big thing for me is it's not you want to say the word random, right? It's not totally random. The better teams seem to be on the better side of these series, like we're seeing with the
100%.
Phillies. But man, when you're in it, when you're living moment to moment, I call it coach mode or manager mode. Where you're living and dying with every decision.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why we're on this roller coaster. That's why we're saying they're not a playoff team one day, and the next day that they're scoring 11 runs, multiple. And that's why people get on Thompson all the time. And I know I'm going to be getting on him at some point later in the year when
Right.
he's too cool for school and doesn't do anything. But these are the reasons why. Um, with that being said, I'm still unsure how this team's going to look. How's the outfield production's going to look? Because now we see Otto Kemp 4 for 4. I was
Whew.
hoping, I was hoping he could make it it still was a historic day. I was hoping he could make it a 5 for 5 super duper historic day, um, because you're gonna if he's someone who can hit, you're gonna have to put him in the lineup here, right? I know we have time to think about it, but I
We
mean,
do.
that's the name that comes away from today right away is Mr. I see people calling him Mr. Automatic.
That's right, and you said it. The internet's already dubbing him as Automatic, Otto Kemp. One thing we will say about Otto Kemp: he's played third, he's played first. Neither of them has he played them well. That guy is not a good defender at all. Not to I don't want to throw some light away from his big moment there, but that's going to be a problem, right? Because when Bryce comes back, whenever that is, and we're going to be talking about that, when Bryce comes back, what do you do? I mean, do you platoon him in left? I think that's the low hanging fruit.
So the question is, and I guess a quick answer for me would be, yeah, he doesn't go back down though, right? He stays up. He's
I
good
don't
as
want him
he's
to come back down.
yeah. I don't think he should be going back down. Uh, you're right. It's probably going to be that old outfield question again. And how
Yeah.
about this idea to get outside the box? You bring Harper back, you put Kemp in left field, and
Okay.
you know our weakness. I think we're literally last in the major leagues when it comes to defensive runs saved. We saw my boy Kepler. I
Mm-hmm.
love you, Kepler. You had a hot week. I can't wait to show you some love later. But you had the little blunder in right field today.
Mm-hmm.
But we could go all offensive minded and put Kepler in center field
Put
with
Kepler in center field. Okay.
Kepler mixed in with Kemp, mixed in. I mean, Marsh is hitting well now.
I know that's the funny thing, right? Like right when this happens, if Kemp and Marsh were kind of still on that skid that they were on, I think this conversation it's a lot easier, right? Where our tone is going to be a lot more aggressive on this. But I don't to short answer, I don't dislike that at all. I like that. We're definitely losing some defense, I think,
A
probably.
lot of defense,
Yeah.
but at this point, I mean, looks like we're losing on defense, routinely, um, nightly, every game. It seems like
Right.
something's happened no matter who's out there, and sometimes not because of the talent, because of the heady stuff. We've seen at this point Marsh make heady mistakes. We've seen Castellanos. We've seen Rojas is well documented, but it's
Right.
everybody. And I'm not going to sit here and blame anyone, but maybe we lean into a different approach here. I think the question becomes is do you think what we saw with Marsh the last week or so is sustainable? We've seen him get hot for like 3 weeks, I think, or 5 weeks max. He has like a famous 5 week stretch for us.
Right.
Um, you don't want him to get himself hot for a couple weeks, us buy in, and then you know what I'm saying? Get fool's gold on Marsh again.
100%.
So that's one thing I was thinking again today.
No, that's a great point. So here we stand, Father's Day weekend. The Phils are 42-29. The Mets, the last I checked, were getting crushed by the who are they getting crushed by? The Rays, I believe. They're getting crushed by the Rays. So we've made up like 3 games in the past few games. So this has been a huge stretch. We're going into the next weekend, which we'll talk more about, which is a huge series on the Mets. Chat, I see you. We got Shawnee K saying, "Hey, Slim, Casty has my DraftKings lineup looking great today."
Yeah, all love for you. When you when he came up in a great situation, that's a situation you want him in. He can hit for power. We haven't seen it.
Right.
Again, I was hoping to come on here and troll that he still has 6 home runs, but I'm happy that he's now has 7 and being they say he has 9 grand slams for his like he's like
Second of the year, dude.
yeah. So yeah, kudos to Castellanos. Here's what's going on with the Mets. Their offense, they cannot hit with guys in scoring positions, and that pitching staff that I've been talking about due to the value they get, it hasn't been the same, right? A lot of their guys, Ty
Right.
McGill, dudes that Bones would be in here, they haven't been up to snuff. Up to 3 or 5 days ago, this week I saw something. It was
Mhm.
a chart. One thing that every MLB team's first place in. The Mets are in first place in team ERA.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies are in first place with seven inning pitch outings by starters.
Right.
I was thinking, which one would I rather have? And I think you'd rather have the starting pitching, right? You'd rather have that stat. You'd rather have the 70 innings pitch stat than the team ERA stat. So, chat, what do you guys think about that? And what do you think about that?
I think it's a good question, right? And the first thing that jumps in my head is it really depends on where your bullpen is, right? And unfortunately, the Phillies bullpen has been, the last I checked, closer to bottom 5 in the MLB in team ERA. So yeah, I mean, the durability has always been the Phillies kind of staff superpower with Nola and Wheeler. They're kind of the last of the old school pitchers, and we just saw the big article that the Athletic of Matt Gelb did about Wheeler, how he's kind of one of the real old school guys, doesn't even do any of the analytic stuff. He doesn't want to even worry about that. He just goes there and kind of trusts his catcher, which, you kind of take that with a grain of salt because that Caleb Cotham and JT are really dialed in on that. But Wheeler's just kind of going out there and throwing his pitches. But, we'll hit more of that. But no, man, listen, I love the fact that we have a staff that's going to be able to give you 6-7 innings every night. Our starting pitching has been ridiculous. Now, Ranger, I mean, at this point, Ranger has our lowest ERA, and we were worried about him at one point. I mean, I'm loving this Ranger stuff, loving it.
Yeah, and again, he's someone I really hope we end up keeping and not, like I said, we want to make a serious run. I think it includes him, getting some starts this postseason. How do we fix up that bullpen? We'll see. But today, we saw Strom looked good on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we'll see what ends up happening. I have a prediction.
Let's hear it.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to save it for Bones to be here. And Bones, I hope you're listening.
You want to save it? No, hit me with it. Hit me with it. I need it. Hit me with it.
The bullpen answer is going to be Andrew Painter. I see them taking care of him now, and I think he's going to come in, and like you said with JT, it's going to be, he's not going to have to worry about doing too much with his arm this year because he's going to be coming out the bullpen for us.
Yeah.
I can say it.
Are you saying in the regular season or the postseason?
I see it. Over under bullpen appearances before October, over a half. I'm taking the over. So I think we're going to see. They're going to do it before we get into the postseason. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say Mick Abel, but listen, all I care about is that our team ERA goes down in the bullpen. I don't care who's throwing the ball. That's where I'm at.
He throws gas, and he has 4 pitches off of it. So coming in for an inning, he's going to be untouchable. Timestamp it now. You're going to see it, and if we go deep, we're going to love it. We're going to love it. We'll be dressed as painters. I'll be in a dungaree.
Sherwin Williams outfit.
Yeah, I'll send you something in the chat.
Okay. We got Jerry in the chat saying, I think the bullpen that we have, you need 7-inning starters. Yeah, I hear you there. And we got Shawnee K with the good old Strom stinks comment. He's still not bought in on Strom. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Anything else on you? I think you might have hit the old button again there, brother.
Strom, I believe, leads the team in WHIP, right? If I'm wrong,
you might be wrong.
I think I'm right.
We need an intern for these fact checks here.
And Kubis, what is the issue with Strom? I don't really know what the beef is. I get that. Like, are we just predicting a downfall because he's corny? Or what is it? Because I think he's a stud.
So he's a talented guy, and he's shown in the playoffs that he can get it done too. So I'm a Strom guy. But yeah, chat, remember, this is for tonight. If you are here, jump on in the chat. The best question or comment, and you will be selected for this. So this is the prize for tonight. Slim, can I get the first thing off my chest? I have one of those. I have a few topics I need to get off my chest tonight.
And go ahead. What are
I
they?
want to
What's
start off with
happening?
this one. This is an easy one, and we're we're big live and let live guys here at the Red Corner, right? We don't like to
Yeah.
preach. We don't like to preach, but we're also old school guys in a lot of ways. So we go to a lot of Phillies baseball games, and I've been noticing a trend that's happening. Now, when you're sitting in the stands and there's a concession guy selling a beer vendor, the guy that's walking up and down the stands, right?
Yeah.
I've been noticing a lot of the people nowadays, they don't tip that guy. The past like 3 or 4 games that I've seen, you see the guys rolling their eyes a lot. It's just the drunk young guy. And listen, everyone's financial situation is different. But I really do think, I don't know who needs to hear this, but someone does. Those guys work for tips. They work their butts off. And especially in the summer when they're walking up and down carrying that heavy thing, you can throw those guys a couple bucks. So just, I don't know who needs to hear that, but those guys work for tips. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that too, Slim?
I've had noticed it, and
Yeah.
honestly, tipping culture, we gotta kind of have a general discussion on it because most of the conversation now, and
Yeah.
it starts with people. I call them honestly, I call them dimwits because there's people that t- it's being gracious, it's being courteous, it's having gratitude.
Right.
And now we get the people who think there's that American culture in general is an over tipping culture. I think that's ridiculous, and I think we see people, especially at these sporting games, trying to cut the corners. Literally, imagine if you had that job. You don't have to get out your seat, and you got
Bingo.
men and women carrying what are they, 100 pound um,
Probably not
bin,
100 pounds, but they're heavy.
50 pound bins of ice.
Yeah.
Hey, when Slim comes to section 121, they know they have the 100-pound bins ready. Uh, but exactly, they're running up and down the steps, they're sweating, they're working hard, they're making
100%.
sure you don't have to move. And the question is not. And here's the other thing: if
Mhm.
you're out there with a bunch of people, right? If it's you, two of your buddies, get one for everyone, right? Get one for everyone. Tell them to keep the change and keep it good from there.
Yeah,
Honestly, do in the first inning, over tip them in the first inning, and then just keep it like that because you're probably going to get
that's a good
more than
call.
one. So that's the way Slim would do it. I would say, hey, we need one, two, we need three Bud Lights, or we need three Love Cities.
Yep.
How much is it? Okay, woo, I make the eyeballs to you guys. No, no, keep it, pal. You're good, and then that's that. You know, and I think the minimum
100%.
is really probably $20. You're right. The beers are $20. So I mean, if you're getting three beers, throw them another 20, and then you can work off that. But that's the bare minimum. If you want to do a couple bucks here and there, but I would just give them a 20 off the top.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, look, we're not gonna get preachy, and we know everybody's financial situation is different, but I'm more so saying this to let everyone know that these guys do work for tips. And what has happened, and Slim, you hit on this earlier, and we'll transition here. The beer prices are high in the ballpark. That's a whole nother conversation. But don't let the fact that the prices have getting skyrocketed out on the people that are working their butts off, doing that job. But anyway, let us transition here. And Slim, we talked about this earlier, and I want to hammer this home in chat. I want to kind of hear your final thoughts on this, chat. And we got some chat activity here from every day saying, "Nice win, guys. Slim, love you, buddy." So shout out to that guy.
Yo,
Uh,
who's that?
Actually, it's everyday Mets. So you have some Mets fans love coming.
Everyday Mets. Oh, what's happening? What's happening? You know what? I got your I'll tell you what. I can't say this on the air. So you know what? Yeah, screw the Mets.
We'll get back into that. But here's the other thing. So Otto Kemp, right? Here's the deal. Do we think this is real? Because I think short of the defensive blunders, which I'm not going to really knock him out too much on, it's been about as good as it could be. Really, truly. So do you think this is real? Do you think Otto Kemp is going to be on the postseason, impact team?
I think Otto Kemp is a professional hitter. Right now, I
Okay.
think the position is where is he going to play? Unfortunately, I don't know. We're going to see the left field thing, and that's what makes or breaks a lot of these guys. I'm sure there's a lot of people who had major league dreams
Right.
that became positionless, and we're out the league. But this guy, come on. I mean, absolutely a stud. And what you like about him is his story.
Mhm.
He wasn't a dude who was highly touted. So he's a worker, he's a grinder.
Good call.
He's getting a chance to play every day. And you know what the best part about it? You saw him steal the base today, and I'm hoping that kind of stuff. And that's the same reason people talk about bringing up Crawford. But when
100%.
when you're a young guy, you're actually going to be looking to play plus advantage baseball. No
Mhm.
matter what it is, every situation you're looking to make yourself, you know,
As valuable as possible to the team,
above
100%.
WAR. That's why we have people who don't like the WAR stat, but it shows you are you above replacement or not. We've seen Turner today stretching out and taking more bases. So yeah, I love seeing the young guys do it. I think he's going to stay. Everything's cool now at first base. Um, we'll
Yep.
see. He
We'll
looked
see.
pretty. Oh, well, what was your assessment of him as a third baseman? Because
Not
I don't.
He's
Yeah,
not an infielder. He's not an everyday infielder in the big leagues. Listen, and I think he's 25 years old, so he definitely could get better, but didn't look great at third. Um, did not look great at first so far. I mean, I guess you could say he's joining the club on that, right? Because you throw him in left field. But yeah, it's funny because Rob Thompson said he's a baseball player, and I agree. He is. He's a baseball player. It's one of those old school comments that you know what he's talking about when he says it. But I'm excited that he came up and continued to hit the ball because remember he was absolutely raking down in Lehigh Valley, like absolutely raking. So I just wanted to hear, see what your thoughts are on that. If he's something that we can kind of see moving forward.
and I guess the question is for the Phillies too is where do they want to lean in and develop him at? Because wherever they see him playing the most, that's where, or I guess, uh, baseball's a sports that lends himself to learning every position. So maybe his weakness can become a strength in the future because he
Yeah,
has to learn first base, third base, and left field here.
for sure. Shawnee K in the chat saying, remember, Schwarber can play left. I guess he's kind of leaning into some of the optionality we can have. Let's put a pin in that and transition here, Slim, to feel the love. Everyone at this point knows that our official brewing partner is Love City Brewing. It's in my opinion and in Slim's opinion, the number one brewery in the city. Truly have an awesome, awesome location down there on Hamilton Street in the Calla Hill section of Philadelphia. We will be doing a watch party there soon, so stay tuned on that. But Slim, who is your feel the love this week?
I think there's only one guy. I think after last week calling out the blame game with the outfielder, my man Max Kepler, I'm feeling the love of you stepping up and proving Slim right.
Yep.
Uh, you brought a lot of power. You have 8 home runs now for the season. Your average is still a little low. Your OPS is above 700, and I think at this point we can start having that conversation. I think Kepler mentally has adjusted to the game here. I think he started. We saw the first week we're playing
Yeah.
a very bad national team for the most part.
Right.
Kepler did fine, but then after that he was struggling. He wasn't sure why, and then he said himself that he's going to the ballpark getting early batting reps with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Nick Castellanos.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Kepler's leaning into the culture that Castellanos, Schwarber, Harper, Remuto, Wheeler, Nola, that these legends, right, are building. And I think he's really going to start turning the corner. Now, Topper, listen to me. And I know it might get hard a little bit. You're getting a little testy with Marsh maybe in left field or Schwarber, like Kuba said. Take Max Kepler, put him in left field, keep him there. Or, like I said, if you do want to get a little sexier, go to that power offense where we put Kepler in center field. That's where I'm at, Kepler. I love that you're stepping up. I think you're going to set a career high in OPS this year, above
Ooh.
7. Yep, I think he's going to get above 750, and I think we're back on for
He's never
20.
had above 750 in his career.
He's a career 744, so I think he's going to be above his career
Oh,
average.
I got you. I was going to say
I
I
bet.
have
Yeah,
a hard time believing he's never had above that in his career at least
yeah.
once.
Let me walk that back. I think he's
Yeah,
going to have it above a 750 OPS. We'll just keep it at that. Nice and simple. He'll have above a 750 OPS this year.
love
He'll
it.
have over 20 home runs this year.
I love that. All right, so I am feeling the love this week for my boy, Power Ranger Suarez. So we were going into this weekend and we needed a big series, right? And who did we have on the mound? We had Ranger Suarez Friday, City Connect jerseys. I was actually in the building and he went out there and did his job. He dazzled, got the win. And now at this point, he leads the team in ERA, lowest ERA on the starting rotation. He looks like old Ranger. He's painting the corner. He's a pitcher, ground balls, everything, right? He's a gamer, that guy. And I tweeted this, and I'm going to say it here on the airwaves here. Ranger Suarez right now is pitching to change his family's life, his grandchildren's life, right? Because at this point, he's due next year to make more in 1 year than he probably made in his entire career, based off my research. I think his career earnings are somewhere around 18 million or less. If I'm wrong, I'm off by a little bit for my research. Ranger might be making $25-30 million next year, the way he's pitching right now. And that's not even something you're going to blink at. He's a lefty, and he's had the past 2 years, he's shown long stretches of being a top lefty pitcher. So I'm very excited for Ranger. Slim, I got a little excited when I heard you say that we might be keeping him around, because this is where I get the little boy in me, the little boy fan, always wants to hang on to these guys, right? And then the businessman, I can see we trade these guys. So Ranger, I feel like we're probably going to trade, but I love to hear you say you want to keep him. Anything to add on that?
If we end, I said it last week, and I'm going to echo it again this week. If we end up trading Ranger Suarez, we have to and we should be able to get a unbelievable return.
Yeah.
Not just because of the caliber of player he is. He's absolutely fantastic. He's killing it. And but the market itself, there's not that many options. There's a lot of teams in the hunt. There's a lot of teams that might be holding on to their players. So that's going to make, and we talked about this, that's going to make the competition even hotter. Last week, Boone said, you don't trade them in the NL. I stepped back and said, well, if that's going to be the hottest, and this is when we were maybe thinking that we were more doom and gloom last week.
Right.
But I'm saying if they're going to be that giving up the most, maybe you do trade them within the league. Once you start thinking like that, that tells you should probably just keep them, in my opinion.
Okay.
And just, keep them. If you're going to keep them, start thinking about the long-term signing of him. I wouldn't be against it. I love the idea of Painter, Ranger, and Abel all being here in 27 and 28, because we saw, and this was reported apparently when he first signed, but Wheeler is looking to exit in 2027 as well. So that's the other thing. So two things back to you is, one, what's the potential trade strategy come Suarez if we do say yes to trading him? And then two, the long-termness with the Wheeler basically being done in 2 years.
So look, we talked about this offline. The Ranger thing is very delicate, right? It's an interesting situation because the team is not going to have the control for long term, right? That's number one. Number two, they're going to want to either have a quick rental, call it that, where they can have a primetime player for the postseason, or it's a team where they're thinking, all right, we want to sign this guy, we want to trade for him, and then acquire him for the long term. So it's got to be a team that's either A, trusts him for the long term, which he's shown durability issues, or B, a team that just needs an arm for the postseason. So, listen, at this point, it's all speculation of who the counterparts are going to be. I'm keeping an eye on.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know the names, but the team. Would you trade Suarez for the top prospects that the Cubs have? Because they're a team that's going to need starters.
We're not going to trade for prospects at the trade deadline if we're a buyer.
Okay.
I don't see that happen.
So any Ranger deal includes an outfielder,
or any Ranger deal
right-handed
includes
bat,
an outfielder or a bullpen arm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but listen, that's going to be a sexy story, and I've actually was thinking about if Marsh keeps playing like this, maybe he's a trade piece. But we'll keep that on the burner. We got James D in the chat saying, "I want to keep Ranger." I hear you, James. Man, he's an easy guy to root for. Jerry in the chat saying, "I feel the love for Bohm. He's played two different positions, and his bat has been solid since the beginning of the season." Hey, great call there, Jerry. That's 100% right. For a big leaguer to be pulled out of his funk to go back and forth positions and then to keep up the production like he has, great call out there. And then, yeah,
And Bohm is someone when he first came up, all we did was trash his defense at third
yeah,
base, a little bit at first base, but definitely at third base. And when we see guys like Kemp, it just makes me a little bit optimistic in that regard.
100%. Slim, I have a couple other things I gotta get off my chest, but anything you wanted to jump into before Slim-Pick-Ems? Because I know there's a few things that you were mentioning you wanted to hit on before.
So, no, you
Okay.
mentioned I think it's without a doubt because
Yep.
I just went on the social media, posted a couple things about, the hat giveaway. We're giving away that hat. Devo, can you show it again? You got it on you?
Oh
Show
yeah.
that hat again.
Right there,
We're giving
baby.
away this hat to the best comment, and Devo brought up earlier that, "Hey, we're in Philadelphia. We're a hardworking, gritty city." Uh,
Yeah.
don't forget to make sure you're showing love and tipping those beer runners when you're sitting, at the
Yeah.
game. But here's the other thing, because would you or would you not? How
Mm-hmm.
do you handle tipping when you go up to get a beer? Let's say you're grabbing one beer for you and one beer for a friend.
So I saw James D in the chat ask about that. So we're tip guys, right? You and I, we bartended in our lives at different points, and
Yes.
we've worked for tips in our lives. So I'm always a tip guy. I don't like to get preachy on this stuff, like because I know everybody's situation's different. Um, I know people think a lot of the tipping stuff has gotten crazy. That's another conversation for another day. But I do think that when I personally go up and someone serves me a beer, I give them a tip. That's my style.
No, I'm with you, and I
Yeah,
think if you're getting two beers, old school, easy little $5, right? I think
yeah.
today give them $6. I know $3 a beer might seem a lot, but hey, $6 right off the bat. And I say two beers is because I think that's the minimum. I don't think you're allowed to walk away with more than two.
I think that's right.
Yeah, so, yeah, whatever the beer costs, $3 on each, unless you're a big baller, uh, and you wanna do the 25, percent.
100%. Yeah. So Slim, I wanted to hit on this one other thing here, as far as we kind of same theme here, right? Same exact theme. Bryce Harper on this injury. I've had a I'm scratching my head here, right? Because no one, no one thinks that Bryce Harper is obviously faking. Nobody thinks that. Nobody's claiming that. But I'm waiting for the story to come out on what actually is going on with this wrist thing, right? Because there's a lot of weird narratives floating around. Number one, they're saying this was going back to last year, right? So, okay, that's the first thing. While I'm scratching my head, well, let's go back to last year when he came back from his most recent one. He was hitting the ball really well, right? Like he was killing the ball. Now you could say the slug was down a little bit. Okay, I hear that. Then he gets hit in the elbow, and I'm hearing that had no impact, right? Or it didn't hurt it or anything. So then he comes back from the elbow thing, from getting hit from Strider, and shortly thereafter he goes on the IL, which he did not do for the elbow, right? For
Mhm.
the wrist that we didn't even know about. So my theory, and I want to hear the chat and your thoughts on this. When he got hit in that elbow, do you think he was getting all like the different scans all over his arm and they saw something in his wrist or something? Like this is a weird situation and it's not getting talked about a lot.
Yeah, so the way I'm taking it, I do think it's weird, and I'm not gonna get conspiratorial
Right.
about, the difference between pain and injuries and what kinda injuries can go
I
basically,
just want to know what's going on.
right, so this is what's going on. Uh, I think it's unrelated, the elbow and the wrist. I think the wrist when you give that whole backstory, right, I think
Right.
all that backstory going back to last year, that all goes towards the wrist, and I think the issue he's having is when he's returning, they're saying it comes down to basically it's almost like a core, it's not a core injury, but with him swinging so violently, so hard, that's what's messing up his wrist, and that's basically what it is. That he's at it's almost it reminds me of the reverse Chase Utley, the cartilage on cartilage type thing. He has it instead of
Right.
it in his lower body, he has it in his wrists. It seems like something going on there. But no, I think that's what it is. I think it's more the wear and tear. He was able to feel good in December and February and March when he showed up at spring training. Looked was having an okay year this year, and then as it goes on, as the games, just like anyone that gets older, you start feeling the aches and the pains. Maybe with the sun, the warmer weather, maybe that will help. I don't know because I don't know exactly what's wrong with his wrist, but I think this is the definition of a nagging injury that he's going to have forever.
Unfortunately, and you referenced the classic Chase Utley, degenerative knees that just never went away, right? Chase Utley was a degenerative knee situation away from being a slam dunk Hall of Famer. Now he's kind of just like a fringe Hall of Famer. But yeah, no, it's just something I'm really curious about because it doesn't really pass the smell test, right? And again, I want to reiterate, no one's saying that Harper is faking anything, but the order of operations here is not really making sense. And I'm just waiting for that story to come out to shed a little bit more light on this. Steve in the chat saying huge homestand. Absolutely, brother. Slim, anything else you want to get off your chest before you jump into Slim-Pick-Ems here, brother?
Could it be that they're trying to hide? They don't want to put them on the 60 day. Is there some kind of maneuvering on that? That's usually stuff.
So the maneuvering, and that's kind of where my mind's going. It's like what's going on here? Because remember when Bones and I had the big argument, right? Bones called out Harper. I then came to his defense, right? Whatever you want to call it. And then right after that, obviously coincidental, he started tearing the cover off the ball, right? He was hitting like 500 over like a 2 or 3 week span, whatever it was. I know it wasn't exactly that, but he was doing well. Then he gets hit in the elbow by Strider, right? He doesn't go on the IL. He never goes on the IL. He comes back for a game, and then we decide all of a sudden that it's his wrist. So something's not adding up there. And I don't know what that is. So is there some maneuvering going on? I don't know. I got my mom calling me here while I'm on the podcast. But yeah, that's all I want to say. But let's give some picks out here, boys. Let's give some picks out with Slim-Pick-Ems.
All right, we're going to keep it nice and easy. You've been following me on Twitter. It's right below the handle, right below me right here at TRC_Slim on Twitter. We're going to be posting every single day. The reason is the market, just like the S&P, just like anything else, it's open every single day. So Slim, the Red Riders, and the Slim and Partners, we're doing this every single day. We got some stuff happening right now, but for tomorrow, we're looking at 3 National League teams. We're going to be taking the Arizona Diamondbacks over the stinky Colorado Rockies. The Rockies are coming off a win today, so you can definitely slam the Diamondbacks -1.5. We're going to be taking the Braves -1.5 versus the Miami Marlins. That's another team looking. They're not out of it totally. If they want to stay above water, they're going to have to beat Miami. So you can take the Braves versus Miami Marlins. Remember, again, -1.5. And then this one is going to be the nice one. This is going to be the good return one. We're going to take the Washington Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, where am I at? I was looking at this is next week's already. So let me say it again. Let me take it from the top. We're going to be taking the Dodgers over. We're going to be taking San Diego over the Dodgers. We're going to be taking Philly over Miami, and we're going to be taking the Angels over the Yankees. So again, in recap, we're taking San Diego over the Dodgers. We're taking the Phillies over the Marlins, and we're taking the Angels over the Yankees. My apologies, Red Riders. I was looking at this weekend's slate already, but they're the 3.
Get ahead of yourself.
For all the updated odds and infos, just follow the Twitter handle below.
Oh, I love it, guys. And you know how this works, right? Slim always answers the call. Win or lose, he comes up here and he gives you his stats. Not a lot of people in the gambling world do that. And always bet responsibly and ride with Slim because the Red Corner always does. And we got Stephen G in the chat saying, He hopes he, meaning Harper, comes back for the Mets series. That would be huge since the Mets just lost Senga. Yeah, man, that would be huge. I don't think that's going to happen. No one would like for that to happen more than me. And that Mets series is shaping up to be an absolute on fire one. And this is a good time for me to tease. We are going to do a live watch along next Sunday for Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday Night Baseball, I think that is the 22nd. We will be doing a live watch along for that entire game. So make sure you come into the chat here because we're doing a lot of good giveaways like this. So make sure you come back. And it's looking like Wheeler's going to be on the hill for the first game there. So that's going to be an absolute playoff intensity environment. Slim, anything else on your picks there that you want to talk about?
No, I think so. Let me recap and go back real fast.
Yeah.
So again, you can follow me on Twitter. It's right below. Because I didn't give out the record. So let me clarify what my record is and let me pull it up. I have it right here, right on the good old Twitter. So partners, we're currently 36-80 for negative 24.35 units, and we're 0-4 in parlays for minus 1.75 units. Tomorrow, we're taking the Angels at night. We're taking the Padres versus the Dodgers, and we're taking the Phillies. All for 1 unit. If they lose, double down. All right. If anything happens in between, I'll be posting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. This minus 24 is going to be a plus 10 by the time we get to July 4th. All right. Stay with me. We got this. Breathe.
We got this. All right. So let's transition here. So I just had a nice little treat of a weekend. So I helped my grandmother out cleaning her basement, help her out some old technology stuff. And she found this old unopened DVD. And this is a Richie Ashburn, A Baseball Life, narrated by Harry Callis. So I am very excited to kind of dive into this DVD. I had to find an old DVD player. Some of our younger listeners probably don't even know what that is. I wanted to see if anyone in the chat or any of our listeners has ever seen this. This is made in the 2000s, narrated by Harry K. And it's called A Baseball Life of Richie Ashburn. So this is going to be a fun thing that I want to be diving into. Just wanted to show that because this just happened the other day. So please drop that in. If you guys have anything else, chat, let us know. Any other questions you have, we'll answer those as we change here. But I have one other thing I want to get off my chest. And this is kind of along the same lines of ballpark etiquette or being an adult, whatever you want to call it. I'm tired of seeing the constant complaints about the Phillies tailgate situation as far as parking. So, guys, I want to open your eyes to something. The Phillies have, and Philadelphia in general, has probably the number one tailgate culture in the country, right? Look around. Do they have the same one in Chicago? No, not on our level, even close. Baltimore, not even close. You go to New York, it's not on our level, right? They don't have all the cars coming in with the tailgates, not on our level. You go around. The Dodgers, everyone complains about, it's the one way in, one way out. So this is the price you pay for having a good tailgate culture. So it's always the suburban people complaining, and shout out to our suburban people. We don't have any hate for you. We know we have a lot of listeners out there that live in the suburbs. But if you choose to drive in, which you don't have to do, right? There are so many options nowadays. You can do Uber. You can take public transportation. Like, there's a lot of rookies out there that are going to drive straight in the middle on a Friday night game during rush hour. They're going to hit traffic. And then, of course, after that, you're going to be parked in the back, and you're going to be sitting in, 45 minutes of overflow traffic at the end of the game. So, rookies, stop doing the same exact thing over and over again. You can do public transportation. If you're not comfortable doing that, get an Uber, walk a block up Pattison, and call the Uber up there, so you don't have to wait in all this traffic. But I'm just tired of everyone complaining about the fact that we have a great tailgate culture here in the city, and it's been really bothering me. Sorry, I had to get off my chest.
No, you're absolutely right. People, they got to do their homework. They got to learn the etiquette. They got to honestly
100%.
just get some awareness. All right, if it's a blowout, maybe you're someone that needs to leave a little bit earlier. No one's going to judge. It's not that serious. Maybe you're someone who wants to stay till everybody leaves. All right, that's another option. And
100%.
here's the biggest kicker, because this is where it actually starts to take Slim off,
Mm-hmm.
because we've already seen we're already placating to these people. The games are shorter, right? Because of the drive back to the suburbs, back
Right.
away from the stadiums. That's why these games are shorter, because they don't want you to watch a 3-4 hour game and then have to drive 2 hours home, an hour, 45 minutes of being traffic. Okay,
Right.
we've already heard you. We've already made the adjustments. Now you do your part.
Well said. Well said. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to let that sit right there because that's very well summarized. We just had to get that off our chest. And we have Jerry in the chat saying that was a rain delay tape years ago. You know what, Jerry? I do remember that. I've never watched it in full though, so I'm very excited to watch that. Slim, what else you got for me? Anything else?
No, that's all for me. Again, we play our next watch party is going to be next Sunday, Sunday Night Baseball versus the Mets.
Yep.
All right, that's going to be a good one. That's
We're
going
gonna
to be
do
a
a
good
watch
one.
party next Sunday, and everyone stay tuned in the chat. Stay tuned on when our next Love City live at the place watch party is. Last time we had a great crowd. I even see some familiar names from our last watch party. In the chat right now. So we had about 20 or so people that were there. So stay tuned for the dates, guys, because we're going to be doing another watch party at Love City soon. And we got Steve in the chat saying Bednar for the bullpen arm to go get. I like that arm. I like that name a lot, Steve. So we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Is Steve a Mets fan?
Steve, are you a Mets fan? Speak up.
I hope he comes back for the Mets series. Oh, who's he talking about that? He's not talking about Senga. He's talking about someone else.
No, he's not. Sorry, we thought you were somebody else, brother.
Phillies. Oh, sorry.
No
Gotcha.
disrespect there.
Apologies. I didn't have the context behind the comments.
Yeah. Slim, it is your time to pick the winner based off your favorite comment in the chat today.
Yo, I think strong. I'm gonna go to our boy Steve Garrison with the Phillies all day, because that's what we are. We're Phillies all day. Steve, thank you very much for coming in, chatting it up. Hope to make sure you're following along and keep commenting. Tell a friend about us. And make sure maybe come out to one of these events and get a beer on Slim.
100%. So Steve, do me a favor. Jump over to our Instagram or our Twitter. And we're on both of those. You see them down at the below there at the ticker, and send me a DM and we'll get this shipped over to you. Okay, brother? Congratulations. You just won our prize today. Guys, the Phillies are now making ground on the Mets. Dare I say, by next weekend, we'll be back on top of the NL East. Let's have a big series here, 4-game series with the Marlins coming up. The Red Corner will be back midweek. We'll have Bones back. The full gang will be there. Go Phils, and follow all of our socials, guys. Talk to you soon. And happy Father's Day.